In 1941, German soldiers entered a Russian palace and stole something that should have been impossible to steal. An entire room, not the furniture, not the paintings, the walls themselves. Amber panels, gold leaf, mirrors, and stone mosaics were pulled apart, packed into crates, and transported hundreds of miles west. The room was then placed on public display inside a German castle. But as the war turned against Nazi Germany, it was packed away again. Then it vanished. No confirmed sighting after the war. No recovered crates. Only theories. Was the amber room burned, buried underground, loaded onto a ship, or hidden somewhere no one has found? The story began more than 2 centuries earlier in Prussia. Construction started in 1701 under King Frederick I. Craftsmen carved and assembled amber into elaborate wall panels designed to glow like frozen sunlight. But the room did not remain in Prussia. In 1716, Frederick William I presented it to Tsar Peter the Great as a diplomatic gift, strengthening an alliance between Prussia and Russia. A room created to symbolize peace had begun a journey that would eventually end in war. The panels were shipped to Russia in large boxes. Decades later, Empress Elizabeth ordered them installed inside the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg. The space was expanded and redesigned to fit its new surroundings. By the time it was finished, the room contained several tons of amber, backed with gold leaf, surrounded by mirrors, and decorated with intricate mosaics made from semi-precious stones. Under candlelight, every surface reflected warm gold and orange. Visitors began calling it the 8th wonder of the world. For generations, it remained inside the palace, a monument to imperial wealth, craftsmanship, and power. Then, in June 1941, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Museum staff raced to protect the palace's treasures. Paintings, furniture, and smaller objects could be moved. The amber room could not. The old amber had become brittle. When curators attempted to remove the panels, pieces began to crumble. So they tried something desperate. They covered the walls with paper, gauze, and fabric, hoping German troops would pass without realizing what was underneath. It failed. The Nazis knew exactly what they were looking for. German specialists dismantled the room in approximately 36 hours. The panels were packed into 27 crates and transported to Königsberg, a German city on the Baltic coast. There, inside Königsberg Castle, the amber room was reconstructed and displayed again. For nearly 2 years, visitors could still see it. That matters. The room had survived the invasion, it had survived being dismantled, and it had survived the journey west. Its disappearance came later. By 1943, Germany was losing the war. The Castle Museum's director, Alfred Rode, was instructed to take the room down and protect it. Once again, the amber panels were placed inside crates. Then, in August 1944, British bombers attacked Königsberg. Large sections of the city burned, and the castle was severely damaged. But reports indicated that the crates may have survived the bombing. If that was true, the amber room was still somewhere in or around Königsberg. Then the Red Army closed in. In April 1945, Soviet forces captured the city after a brutal battle. Fires, artillery, collapsing buildings, evacuations, and looting created complete chaos. And somewhere inside that chaos, the trail ended. The simplest explanation is that the room never escaped Königsberg. Perhaps the crates burned inside the castle during the bombing or the Soviet assault. Amber is an organic material. Under enough heat, it does not leave behind a pile of golden treasure waiting to be recovered. It burns. But that explanation has never satisfied everyone. Some researchers believe the crates were hidden in tunnels beneath the castle. Others have searched abandoned mines, underground bunkers, and storage chambers across Germany and Poland. Another theory claims the panels were loaded onto a ship and sent across the Baltic Sea before Soviet forces arrived. If that happened, the amber room may now be trapped inside a shipwreck on the ocean floor. For decades, every tunnel, bunker, mine, and sunken vessel seemed capable of producing the answer. None did. Then in 1997, something extraordinary happened. One of the original stone mosaics from the amber room appeared in Germany. It proved that at least one piece had escaped the room's final known location. But it also created a much larger question. If one piece survived, could others have survived too? In 1979, the Soviet Union began reconstructing the lost room using old photographs and surviving plans. craftsmen had to relearn techniques that had almost disappeared. The project took more than 2 decades and was completed in 2003. Today, visitors can once again enter a glowing amber room inside the Catherine Palace. But it is a reconstruction. The original panels, the ones carved in Prussia, gifted to Russia, stolen by the Nazis, displayed in Königsberg, and packed into crates as the Third Reich collapsed, have never been conclusively found. Maybe they were destroyed in a fire, maybe they lie beneath a ruined city, maybe they sank in the Baltic, or maybe the greatest stolen room in history is still hidden, waiting for someone to open the right door. Until that happens, the Amber Room remains one of history's greatest unresolved files.